here with John Lean, John Vaudreuil, and Brent Augustine. And before we get to your years, the 01 year, you would have been sophomores, and you were a ninth grader. And that team was 22-7 and went to the state tournament and lost to Cretin, who had quite an amazing shooting team, Joe Maurer and Ryan Keating and Sean Sweeney, etc. And as you guys were coming up and a part of the program at that time, and you saw the success from the 2000 team, the 2001 team, how did that motivate you? Did it make you want to take that step and get to the state tournament? What were your feelings as you guys were coming up and seeing the success there?
Definitely. And we practiced a lot with those guys, during practice and played with them and played with them at the club and things like that. So you get a sense for how you compare to those guys. And they were physically more mature than us at the time, but we felt like, we were every bit as good of basketball players as they were. And so we wanted, getting the taste of the state tournament, and that made me personally really want to get back there and keep that tradition going.
I think for me, I was fortunate to come through the program when I did, and even being a year behind these guys where, 8th grade, you're coming into high school and you're paying more attention to high school basketball, and it almost set the standard that, these guys are winning regularly and consistently, and it's the expectation of this is how the program runs. And then even going through and seeing the consistency of the players and having guys that played significant roles at younger years and still be around, that it's like, that's just how it goes. And you looked up to the older guys to set the precedence. And it was important.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we definitely didn't want to be the class, or when it's our time on varsity, to be the group that stopped the state tourney run or late conference title, to keep that going and knowing the tradition that was before us, and then we want to definitely keep that going.
What made you guys so good? I mean, you each had your own niche, but you each were extremely good at what you did.
I think you said it right there when you said niche. I think we did a really good job of everyone really finding their role and doing the best they could in that role. I mean, I think any one of us probably could have maybe put up better numbers in some ways, but I don't think the team would have been any better. And the team really complemented each other, I think, top to bottom. And we had size, we had shooters, we had guys that did the little things. And I think playing together a lot allowed us to kind of figure out where we fit in with each other and maximize all those skills.
Yeah, I mean, Augie and we started playing, I think, 3rd grade together. Yeah. Woolley and Wheeler started playing around the same time together. Cam and Omi were playing together, and then we all started playing 5th grade, traveling ball growing up in summers. And then Vo High School started playing with us, and we played in the summers too, and it was just a good fit, and we got along off the court. We've been best of friends growing up and still are, so it was easy to work together and not worry about, we all wanted to score and get points and get your name in the paper, but we worked well together and worked off each other well.
And I think everyone genuinely had a winning first mentality, and they wanted to see everyone else succeed, and if it came at my expense or whatnot, you didn't begrudge that at all. And I think what the coaches did a great job is emphasizing the little things, taking charges and playing defense, getting the assists. And frankly, to score more points, we were only averaging like 45 points a game. So it's pretty tough to really ring the register.
Check the books. Had to be a little more than that.
So we come into the 01-02 season, and we hit the floor. We had a pretty big mix, or good mix, I should say, of the classes. Brian Sikora, who's not here, what did he mean to that team?
Brian was, he was the man, he was incredible. I think coming into that year, I didn't personally know him very well. I mean, I knew him at school, but I didn't play a lot with him because he was always playing up and we were always playing together. And I think he was a little skeptical of us actually at first, and not knowing kind of how we would fit in or what we could do. There wasn't a lot of guys in his class that were high level players really. And so I think, he knew probably that we had to step up. And, of course, Brian, he's a demanding guy. But I liked him, and I didn't mind that he was sometimes hard to hard on everybody. But I liked it. We all wanted to win, and we had the same mentality, so let's go.
He was kind of that tough love guy. You always wanted to get his, seal of approval and for him to kind of say good job, and he did whatever it kind of took to do that. He was a competitor, and for me as the younger guy coming in, it was like he was kind of the bar you set, and you battled with him.
Because he was playing since freshman year, I believe, his freshman year. Yeah. So I think we all want to step up our game, prove ourselves, prove to him we've been watching him play varsity and practicing with him. And then also, beginning of that year, I think UNF's telling us it's a rebuilding year. So I think we had a little chip on our shoulder too. And then going back to what the prior classes had done before us, to set the bar for us too.
Do you guys win as much that year if he's not as demanding as he was?
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that he gave to us was the confidence, because he always had, you could always rely on Brian, right, on the court, and that gives everybody else confidence. And, we always had the skill to know that we could compete, but it's different to know that you're going to win, or at least you're going to always put yourself in a good chance to win, and he always helped us do that.
Well, then you got, winning time, the last 2 minutes or last 5 minutes of the game where you really leaned on Brian there and his experience to say, hey, we're behind you. To Augie's point, though, like when Brian transitioned and showed the confidence in the rest of the team, I think it boosted the team's confidence because he's kind of said, hey, you guys we're rolling together, and we're doing this together. And it was kind of like, cool, we're on board with Brian. He looks at us as peers, and we got to go out and get this.
Another guy that was, I remember came out in his loafers before the 2000 state tournament game as a sophomore and started drilling threes all around was Dan Wheeler. And just a phenomenal inside-out player, and had much success in college. And make a couple comments about Danny because he's not here either, but he was an integral part of the success of the team that year also.
Dan's a great friend of ours. First and foremost, just such a good guy, and love playing with him. He, when he was younger, he wasn't quite as tall as he became. He grew, I think, what do you think, between sophomore and junior year probably, and really developed his game over those years. Because I don't think he was on varsity until junior year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And but really developed his game, and he's a broad guy and had great footwork and then could shoot. It's tough to defend in high school.
That was, we were talking earlier, but you look at that starting lineup and the guys coming off the bench, stuff. We were a big team, and it was, you had 5-6 guys that were all 6'5" plus, and it was, for a guy like Dan to be able to be that size and then to play inside out, you were able to kind of be, you fluctuate your lineup a fair amount to give him the opportunity to have mismatches, and he executed on it, which was a big deal for our success as a team.
Yeah, I would say Dan's development into that junior year and his capabilities he brought, meshing that with Brian, and then the kind of how we all fit in, and then you throw in like Scott King, who brought just worked his butt off the intangibles, and credit to you guys for helping to bring that all together and make it work. So it was kind of right timing with all that.
In those years, the size and the physicality of our teams was amazing. I go back to Zilka, those guys starting that, pushing it through to Dan, Sikora, up to you, and then on down the line to Cole even. But I just remember how well everyone used their bodies and how smart you guys were. You guys were on the same page or got each other on the same page if the moment wasn't right. You guys...
Yeah, I think a lot of that was in practice. Our practices were physical. I remember drills, we'd be under the hoop and roll the ball out, dive for it. Probably started sophomore practice with Ballum, but, so that set the tone, battling against your teammates, and then you fight for each other on the court during the game.
I'm just thankful I only had one practice with Ballum. I pulled up other sort of horror stories.
So going into that season now, there are always the recognizable games were Eden Prairie and stuff. But any other teams that pop out to you guys from that year as memorable games or favorite memories you might have from the season itself?
I don't remember who we were playing against. It may have been Rosemount, and they had Mark's house and stuff, but Brian went off for like 7 threes in a row.
That was down at Rosemount.
Yeah, and it was just one of those like, wow, this is pretty fun to be a part of. And I think one thing that really stood out for me is just how the fans came out. I think it was a testament to kind of the guys on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, every Friday night, the student section was packed and it pumped you up.
Oh,
and
they were
cheering
incredible.
and-
This gym was so fun. So fun that year.
Any other games come to mind?
Well, the obvious are the state, the section and run and state tournament run.
And I remember the Litchfield game that we played up
Yeah.
at Bethel.
Our senior year,
And I
yeah.
think you nailed a 3 to put us up or tie the game, and then there was an illegal screen call, and they had John Carlson.
Yeah, yeah, he was a specimen, man. Holy cow! That we had a good, tough schedule that year. I think Litchfield won. I think 2A. We beat them. We beat North in that tournament. They claimed they were missing a couple guys, but
Yeah.
it didn't matter. They ended up winning state, and so we were rolling during that tournament. That was a good memory.
Yeah, that Litchfield game, our senior year stands out.
Both 3.
Yeah, because I think we were could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we were Litchfield's only in-state loss that year. I think they lost to like the shootout team or something they played.
Yeah.
Then they ran the table. Besides our loss.
So we go back to 01, 01-02, the region final, Eden Prairie. Always a battle, comes down to the wire. You guys have any fond memories or recognitions from the final minutes of that game? I really have a fond memory from the end of that one. Do you guys remember the end of it, towards the end of it?
I don't remember the details of that game so much.
I do remember, I don't remember what happened, how we played, how I played, anything like that. We won, but it was getting back to Sikora and trying to get his, acceptance or praise or whatever. On the bus getting off in the parking lot, he grabbed me aside and said, "Hey, you played well tonight." And I was like, cool. So obviously something happened.
I remember him.
Great to remember it.
Yeah.
He held the ball up top. Do you guys remember that? The waning moments of the game.
Yeah,
Pulled
I
him
do now,
out.
yeah.
They had a big guy
Yeah.
guarding him, and he just sat out there
Yeah.
and waited.
They had
That's
that
right.
big lefty went to Air Force, Eric Anderson or something.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So we got the state tournament, and as far as the other previous seasons, a team that's not as high a seed as Cretin or Tartan, but we get Rochester Century, who's deep, and they had a guard named Dan Lyons, I think, that played shortstop for the U, but they platooned, and I remember the fatigue setting in the waning moments of that game. Do you guys that game? It was a very close game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say we didn't overlook. I mean, you guys prepared us well, but I remember that game being probably fair to say tougher than we expected. You know,
That's exactly what I was going to say.
We were coming
Yeah.
off such a high beat and a rival like Eden.
Yeah.
And then backing it up and going against a team that you're like, they're from Rochester. Like, who do they play during the regular season? And
Yeah.
it's not that you're overlooking them. It's just they just beat Eden Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty big high to come off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you get Minneapolis North, Cameron Taylor, and James Davis was not on part of the team that year. But do you remember a defensive scheme that was put in place?
Yeah,
Right?
yes, I do.
Match
Remember
up
that
well.
well.
Like the day before it was put into place.
Yeah.
That was
the
brilliant.
coach, right?
That was
Yeah.
brilliant.
1-3-1 matchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that,
What'd that do to them? What do you think?
Well, I'd like to go back and read the Star Tribune pregame report on that thing because we didn't
Yeah.
stand a chance going
Right,
into the
right,
game.
yeah.
And I don't know, would we hold them to like 38 points or something like that?
something like that. Yeah. 39, I think.
They just didn't,
Almost.
Yeah.
seem to do much.
No, they were getting so
Took
frustrated.
them out of their game, and yeah, we.
I do remember back in that game, the first couple possessions, because it was such an they played such an up and down pace, and getting a couple defensive stops right away and securing that rebound and going down and executing on offense and getting some momentum where it's like we're executing right now.
Yeah.
This is working, and
Mhm.
we just kept rolling.
And you could
Yeah.
feel their frustration. You could sense it from their bench, the players on the court, their crowd as the game went on.
Yeah.
And it was like you just kind of knew we had them.
Because I think they got out to a lead on us, I think, at the
Yep.
beginning.
Yeah, they got a few-
We made some adjustments, and then,
Yeah.
we knew that we had every offensive possession for us had to be a good one. I mean, we couldn't waste possessions because it was a low-scoring game, too. And so we started getting more successful on the offensive end, but the defensive adjustments that we were making and doing that matchup zone, and they were getting so frustrated, taking terrible shots, And you could just see it in their body language. And the crowd was, they were out of it and, for them. And, by midway through the second quarter, it was pretty clear to me that, we had this if we could keep it going.
What a boost in confidence
Oh,
when
yeah.
you guys are playing a huge game like that and you run some whatever defense you're doing and you see the entire team that you're playing against frustrated and it just like jacks you up, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 This is working. We figured something out here, and let's just keep doing it. But as a coach of that, I mean, our group was not that we were super bright or anything like that,
We were
but
very
to be able to instill that the night before, I mean, what was your guys' thoughts on? Because you're sitting in the hotel room, I think, and it's like, hey, let's try this.
Well, I think Coach Evans put it in. I think the thought process on it was if we could get a few extra possessions, stops. I don't think we were thinking we were going to play it the whole game.
We
But it
put
just-
that together at Cretan, didn't we?
Yeah,
Over there. I mean over at
At St. Thomas.
St.
Academy.
Thomas.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We just like a change of pace defense.
but
Yeah.
it was one of those things that worked, and if it's working, hey, just
Yeah.
let it ride, right? Yeah, go with it.
Yeah.
And after the locker room, I remember somebody saying, "Holy smokes, we're in the state title game."
Yep.
We're in the state title game. I
Yeah.
remember Coach Volm and I scouting Osseo and Hopkins, and even before the game, and you're going to play Hopkins. What are you guys thinking about that game?
Yeah, obviously, they got the headline of Chris Humphreys, and it's like, how are we going to match up with that? Now, on the flip side, you just kind of caught lightning in the bottle with the 1-3-1 matchup. So you got some confidence rolling in that game. You knock off North. Go out and play the game.
Yeah, we're going in thinking we're going to win that game. Definitely. And we knew a lot of those guys from, AAU basketball. We had played with them on some of the
Were they
same
on the same
teams.
team at that time?
Not the previous year. Cole.
No.
Oh, were they on this? Our team?
No. Were they on?
They on this? Oh, they're probably not. Yeah.
Of course you knew that. Group in Bloomington, right?
Well, they played
Yeah.
4 school songs before this game started.
Definitely like that.